Hello, everyone. The most powerful messages are never spoken, they are demonstrated. This simple truth separates those who influence from those who merely speak. Words can be empty, but actions are undeniable. When people see something consistent, something real, they are moved in ways that no speech, no written words, and no promise can achieve. The essence of true leadership, inspiration, and impact is not found in what we say, it is found in what we do. Imagine walking into a room filled with people. Without speaking a word, your posture, your energy, and your presence already communicate something about you. People observe, whether consciously or unconsciously. They notice the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others, the way you respond to challenges. Long before you ever open your mouth, they have already formed an impression of who you are. The question is, what is that impression saying? Great leaders, mentors, and role models do not inspire through long speeches alone. They inspire by living out their values with such consistency that others cannot help but take notice. A person who wakes up early, works relentlessly, and refuses to make excuses sends a message stronger than any words could ever express. A person who treats everyone with respect, even when they don't have to, sets a standard that words cannot enforce. A person who remains calm under pressure, who does not panic when things go wrong, who stays focused when everyone else is distracted. These people make a lasting impact, not because they explain their strength, but because they demonstrate it. The greatest proof of any belief is not in how well you talk about it, but in how deeply you live it. Anyone can talk about discipline, but few can embody it in their daily habits. Anyone can preach about kindness, but it is rare to see someone live it out, even when it is inconvenient. Anyone can claim to value hard work, but only a handful of people consistently show up, put in the effort, and push through adversity without needing to announce it. People don't remember speeches as much as they remember the feeling a person gives them. Think of the people who have truly impacted your life. Was it their words that changed you? Or was it something you saw in them? Was it their consistency, their work ethic, their ability to rise after failure, their refusal to compromise their values? The truth is, the people who inspire us most are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who embody something worth following. This is why silence, when backed by action, carries more weight than the most carefully crafted words. When someone says they will do something and follows through without reminders, it earns respect. When someone sets a standard for themselves and holds to it without looking for approval, it commands admiration. And when someone pushes forward in the face of resistance without making excuses or seeking sympathy, it inspires others to do the same. There is an unspoken power in being a person whose actions align with their words. In a world where many people talk but few follow through, being the one who does makes you stand out. It is easy to tell people what they should do, but it is far more powerful to live in a way that makes them want to do it themselves. This applies to every area of life. In business, the best leaders don't need to demand respect. They earn it through their work ethic, their discipline, and their ability to make things happen. In relationships, the strongest bonds are built not on promises, but on actions that prove commitment, trust, and consistency. In personal growth, transformation does not happen because of what we say we want to become, but because of the small, unseen actions we take every day to get there. The challenge for anyone who seeks to inspire is not to speak more, but to demonstrate more. To be the person who leads by example, to be the person who shows up when it matters, to be the person whose actions prove their beliefs. The question is not what you want people to hear. It is what you want people to see when they look at your life. The world is filled with noise. There are voices everywhere. On social media, in conversations, in the media, competing for attention, trying to persuade, trying to prove something. But noise fades. Words are forgotten. What remains is the impact of what was lived out. So if you want to inspire, let your actions speak. Let your consistency be your voice. Let your discipline, your kindness, your integrity, and your work ethic be the message that people cannot ignore. because the most powerful messages are never spoken, they are demonstrated. People follow what you do, not what you say. So what are you teaching them? This question is not just about leadership, it is about influence. Every single day, whether we realize it or not, we are teaching those around us what to believe about life, success, discipline, and character. The people who watch us, friends, family, colleagues, even strangers, are learning something from the way we live. But the real question is, are we teaching the right lessons? It is easy to give advice, to tell people what they should do, how they should act, and what mindset they should have. But the truth is, people do not listen to words nearly as much as they observe actions. They are watching how we respond to pressure. They are noticing if we practice what we preach. They are learning from our example, not our instructions. If we talk about discipline but live in laziness, we are teaching that words don't matter. But if we preach kindness but act with arrogance, we are proving that kindness is only conditional. If we tell others to work hard but take shortcuts ourselves, we are showing that integrity is negotiable. Consider a leader in any field. The most respected leaders are not the ones who command people with words, but the ones who inspire them through actions. A business owner who demands punctuality but constantly arrives late teaches employees that rules are flexible. A coach who talks about teamwork but only values individual success creates an environment of selfishness. A parent who tells their child to be honest but lies in everyday situations unknowingly teaches that dishonesty is acceptable in the right circumstances. This is why influence is not determined by what we say, it is shaped by what we consistently do. People learn far more from watching us than they ever will from listening to us. If we want others to be disciplined, we must first live with discipline. If we want others to be kind, we must first demonstrate kindness. If we want people to believe in the value of hard work, we must be the first to show up and put in the effort. The power of example is undeniable. History has shown that the greatest movements, changes, and revolutions were not led by words alone, but by people who embodied their message. Mahatma Gandhi did not just talk about nonviolence, he lived it. Martin Luther King Jr. did not just speak about justice, he fought for it with his own actions. Every person who has ever made a lasting impact has done so because they aligned their words with their life. But this principle does not apply only to great leaders. It applies to everyone. In our daily lives, we are constantly shaping the behaviors, beliefs, and attitudes of those around us. If you are a parent, your children are learning from you, not from what you say, but from how you act. If you are an employer, your team is taking cues from how you handle challenges, not from the motivational speeches you give. If you are a friend, the way you treat others sets the tone for how they treat you and those around them. The weight of this reality should cause us to pause and reflect. If someone were to mirror your habits, your work ethic, your mindset, and your attitude, would that be a good thing? If they responded to problems the way you do, would they be set up for success or failure? If they handled relationships, responsibilities, and opportunities the way you do, would they be better off? This is the uncomfortable but necessary question. What are we really teaching people? Because every action, every decision, and every response is a lesson. Whether we realize it or not, we are either reinforcing good habits or encouraging bad ones. There is no neutral ground. People will either walk away from us inspired to be better, or they will learn to settle for less. The solution is not to speak more, but to live better. It is to become the kind of person whose actions teach the lessons that words never could. When we choose integrity over convenience, we teach that character matters. When we choose discipline over comfort, we show that success is earned, not given. When we choose kindness over ego, we prove that true strength is found in humility. At the end of the day, influence is not about telling people what to do. It is about showing them what is possible. And the most effective way to inspire others is to be the example they cannot ignore, because people follow what you do, not what you say. So what are you teaching them? Your presence can command respect, or it can be invisible. The difference is in how you show up. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are making an impression on the world around you. People are watching how you carry yourself, how you enter a room, how you engage with others, and how you respond to challenges. You do not have to speak to be noticed. You do not have to demand attention to be respected, but you do have to be intentional about how you show up. Respect is not given freely, it is earned. And it is not earned through loudness, arrogance, or force. It is earned through presence. Some people walk into a room and instantly command respect without saying a word. Others remain unnoticed, their presence weak, forgettable, invisible. The difference is not in status or title. It is not in wealth or appearance. It is in the energy they bring, the confidence they carry, and the way they hold themselves. Think of the people you naturally respect. What is it about them that draws your attention? Is it their posture, their composure, the way they handle pressure without breaking? The truth is, people respect those who are grounded, who exude quiet confidence, who are consistent in their actions. They respect those who do not need to prove anything because their presence alone speaks volumes. Showing up is not just about being physically present. It is about being fully engaged. It is about carrying yourself in a way that signals to others that you belong, that you are prepared, that you are someone worth listening to. People who command respect are not those who beg for attention, but those who earn it through discipline, self-awareness, and unwavering standards. They show up with clarity, knowing who they are and what they stand for. Invisibility is not about being unseen, it is about being forgettable. You can be in a room full of people and still be invisible if you do not carry yourself with purpose. If you slouch, avoid eye contact, mumble your words, or hesitate in your actions, you send a message before you even speak. You tell the world that you are uncertain, that you are waiting for permission, that you are not sure of your own value. And when you do that, the world responds accordingly. It overlooks you. Respect is built in the small moments. It is in the way you enter a room with confidence, not arrogance. It is in the way you listen intently when others speak, showing them that their words matter. It is in the way you remain composed under stress, proving that you are not easily shaken. It is in the way you follow through on your commitments, demonstrating reliability. These are the things people notice. These are the things that make you stand out. There is a power in presence that words can never replace. When you show up prepared, when you carry yourself with certainty, when you handle yourself with grace and strength, people take notice. You do not need to announce your worth. Your actions and demeanor do that for you. Some of the most influential people in history did not demand respect. They embodied it. They walked into spaces with conviction, with purpose, with an unshakable belief in themselves and their mission. They showed up with intention, knowing that their presence alone could shift the atmosphere. That is the kind of presence that makes an impact. But showing up is not just about external confidence. It is about internal discipline. It is built in the moments no one sees. It is in the way you prepare before an opportunity. It is in the habits you build when no one is watching. It is in the standards you set for yourself, even when no one is holding you accountable. The way you show up in private determines how you show up in public. So the question is, how are you showing up? Are you walking into rooms with quiet confidence, or are you shrinking yourself to fit in? Are you carrying yourself in a way that earns respect, or are you allowing yourself to be overlooked? Are you demonstrating through your presence that you belong, or are you waiting for permission to be noticed? Your presence has power. It can open doors, inspire trust, and command respect. But only if you take ownership of it. Only if you decide that you will not be invisible, that you will not let uncertainty hold you back, that you will step into every situation with purpose and conviction. Because respect is not given, it is earned. And it is earned by how you show up. True leadership begins when words become unnecessary. Leadership is not about how well you speak, how many people listen to you, or how often you give instructions. It is about how you live, how you influence without force, and how your presence alone sets the standard. The greatest leaders in history were not those who relied on speeches alone, but those whose actions spoke so loudly that words became secondary. People do not follow titles, they follow examples. They follow consistency. They follow the person who embodies the values they claim to believe in. Leadership is not about commanding, it is about inspiring. And inspiration does not come from what is said, but from what is done. When people see resilience in action, when they witness integrity in difficult moments, when they observe discipline without excuses, they learn more than any speech could ever teach. A true leader does not need to remind others that they are in charge. They do not need to convince people to trust them. Their actions have already done the work. Their consistency has built credibility. Their work ethic has set the tone. Leadership is not a title you wear. It is a responsibility you uphold. It is not proven in moments of ease, but in moments of challenge. It is not about being recognized, but about making a difference, whether people acknowledge it or not. The strongest leaders are those who do not demand respect, but earn it by the way they live. They are the ones who show up, not because they have to, but because they know others are watching. They take ownership, not because they seek credit, but because they understand that leadership is about accountability. They do what is necessary, not for applause, but because they refuse to settle for anything less than excellence. Look at the people you admire the most. Chances are it is not because of what they have said, but because of what they have done. It is the way they kept going when others quit. It is the way they stayed true to their values when it would have been easier to compromise. It is the way they treated others, even when no one was watching. True leadership is about presence, about setting a standard through action, about being the example others look to when words are no longer enough. In moments of crisis, people do not need speeches. They need someone to show them what to do. When uncertainty arises, they do not need empty motivation. They need someone to take action. When discipline is lacking, they do not need reminders. They need a model to follow. A true leader does not just talk about solutions, they create them. They do not just speak about character, they live it. Leadership is not something that turns on and off depending on the situation. It is not something that only applies in professional settings or during important moments. It is a daily commitment, a lifestyle, a standard that never wavers. It is about leading in the small things, showing discipline when no one is watching, maintaining integrity when there is no reward, and holding yourself accountable even when no one else will. People will forget most of what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel, how you carried yourself, how you handled the tough moments. They will remember the way you remained composed under pressure. They will remember the way you treated them when they had nothing to offer you. They will remember whether your actions matched your words. This is why true leadership begins when words become unnecessary. Because when you lead correctly, people do not need to be told what to do. They already know. They have seen it. They have witnessed it. They have felt the impact of your actions, your consistency, your example. Leadership is not about standing in front of people and giving them direction. It is about walking the path so clearly that they instinctively follow. The greatest leaders do not demand loyalty, they earn it. They do not need to declare authority. It is recognized through their actions. They do not chase influence. It is given to them by those who respect the way they lead. True leadership is quiet, steady, undeniable. It is a force that moves people not because they were told to move, but because they have been inspired to move. So the question is not whether you have the right words. The question is whether your actions make words unnecessary, whether the way you live is a testament to the values you preach, whether your presence alone is enough to inspire others to become better. True leadership is not about speaking. It is about showing. It is about leading in such a way that even in silence, your influence is felt. Inspiration is contagious, but it doesn't start with a speech. It starts with a silent act. It begins in the unseen moments, in the decisions made when no one is watching, in the quiet discipline that builds character. People are not moved by words alone. They are moved by what they witness, by what they feel, by the actions that reinforce the message. Words may catch attention for a moment, but actions create lasting impact. Think about the people who have inspired you the most. Chances are it was not because of a speech they gave or a motivational quote they shared. It was because of the way they lived. It was the way they overcame challenges without complaining. It was the way they showed up even when things were hard. It was the way they remained committed to their values when it would have been easier to compromise. That silence act, a choice made with integrity, a sacrifice made with love, a commitment upheld without seeking recognition, carries more weight than any words ever could. Inspiration spreads because it is felt, not just heard. When someone watches you push past adversity without self-pity, they are inspired to do the same. When they see you extend kindness with no expectation of return, they are moved to pay it forward. When they notice your discipline, your work ethic, your ability to stay true to your principles despite the pressures around you, something shifts in them. And they begin to believe that they too can rise higher. The most powerful movements in history did not begin with speeches. They began with a silent act. A single person refusing to give up their seat on a bus. A lone protester standing firm in the face of oppression. A leader choosing to walk alongside their people instead of above them. Before the world listens, it watches. Before it believes in a message, it looks for proof. Before it follows, it observes. This is why the most effective leaders, the most inspiring individuals, do not rely on speeches to make an impact. They know that people will forget most of what they hear, but they will never forget what they see. They will never forget the example set before them. A leader who leads by example does not need to convince anyone of their authenticity. Their life does that for them. Many people wait for the right words before they take action, thinking inspiration comes from perfect speeches or well-crafted messages. But true inspiration starts long before words are spoken. It starts in the quiet choices of daily life. It starts when someone decides to show up and do the work without seeking credit. It starts when someone chooses to stand in their integrity, even when no one acknowledges them. It starts when a person refuses to give in to excuses and instead lets their actions speak. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, few understand the power of being seen. Few realize that the greatest influence does not come from talking, it comes from living in a way that others cannot ignore. People are drawn to authenticity. They are drawn to those who embody what they preach. They are drawn to those whose silent actions scream louder than words ever could. There is something deeply moving about watching someone live with conviction. It challenges the excuses we make for ourselves. It forces us to confront our own limitations and realize they are self-imposed. It shifts our perspective from what is comfortable to what is possible. Inspiration is not something you can manufacture. It is something you ignite. And it is ignited when people see an example that is too powerful to dismiss. A teacher who stays after hours to help a struggling student, a parent who sacrifices their own comfort to provide for their family, an athlete who wakes up before dawn to train while others sleep, a friend who stands by you when the world turns away. These are the moments that change people. These are the moments that inspire. These are the silent acts that speak louder than any speech ever could. If you want to inspire people, do not focus on what you will say, focus on what you will do. Do not wait for the perfect moment to make an impact. Start with a silent act. Let your work ethic be your speech. Let your discipline be your message. Let your consistency be your sermon. The world does not need more words. It needs more examples. It needs more people who are willing to take action before they speak, to prove their values before they preach them, to live in a way that demands respect without asking for it. Inspiration's contagious, but it spreads not through noise, but through presence. It begins when one person decides to act differently, to move with purpose, to be the example that others need. And once that silent act is seen, it cannot be forgotten. It multiplies, it grows, it creates a ripple effect that no amount of words could ever achieve. True inspiration does not start with a speech. It starts with you. Before anyone listens to you, they watch you. What are they seeing? Long before people take your words seriously, they observe your actions. They notice how you carry yourself, how you handle adversity, how you treat others when no one is looking. They pay attention to the silent moments, the times when you think no one is watching, when there's no applause, when you are simply being who you are. These moments define you far more than any speech you could ever give. Trust is not built through words alone. It is earned through consistency. If your words and actions do not align, people will see the truth before they hear it. You can talk about discipline, but do you live with it? You can talk about perseverance, but do you embody it? You can preach about honesty, but do you practice it, even when it costs you something? Before anyone believes in what you say, they must believe in who you are. Think about the people you admire the most. Chances are it is not because of their words, but because of the way they live. You respect them because they lead by example, because their actions reinforce their values, because they stand firm even when no one is cheering them on. You trust them because they are consistent, because they do not say one thing and do another, because their character is evident in everything they do. The world is full of empty words, promises that are never kept, advice given by those who do not follow it themselves, inspiration that fades the moment reality sets in. People have learned to tune out speeches, to be skeptical of words that are not backed by action. That is why, before anyone listens to you, they watch you. They test the authenticity of your message not by what you say, but by what you do when no one is holding you accountable. If you want to be a leader, a mentor, or someone who inspires others, your first responsibility is not to speak, it is to act. It is to live in a way that commands respect without demanding it. It is to uphold your values when it would be easier to compromise. It is to be disciplined when no one is checking on you. To be kind when there is no reward. To be honest even when dishonesty would be more convenient. People notice the little things. They see how you handle frustration, how you respond when things do not go your way, how you treat people who can do nothing for you. They see whether you take shortcuts or whether you put in the work. They see whether you blame others or take responsibility. They see whether you live by the standards you set for others. Your reputation is built in silence, in the moments when you are not performing for an audience, in the decisions that seem small but reveal everything about your character. A leader is not just someone who speaks well, a leader is someone who acts well. Someone who, through their daily choices, sets a standard so high that people cannot help but follow. If you tell people to work hard, but you are inconsistent, they will not take you seriously. If you preach about resilience, but you give up at the first sign of difficulty, your words will mean nothing. If you talk about integrity, but compromise when it benefits you, people will see through you. Before anyone listens to you, they watch you. And if they do not like what they see, they will never take your word seriously. The greatest influence you have is not in what you say, but in how you live. It is in the way you approach challenges, the way you treat others, the way you show up when no one expects you to. It is in the discipline you maintain, the values you uphold, the work ethic you demonstrate. People may forget your words, but they will never forget the example you set. So what are people seeing when they watch you? Are they seeing someone who practices what they preach? Are they seeing someone who holds themselves to a high standard even when it is difficult? Are they seeing someone who is reliable, trustworthy, and committed to their values? Or are they seeing someone whose words are empty, whose actions contradict their message, whose influence is weakened by inconsistency? Every day you are teaching people how to perceive you, not through your words, but through your choices. Every decision you make is a statement about who you are. The way you live is your real message to the world. And the truth is, before anyone listens to you, they watch you. Make sure what they see is worth believing in. Before anyone listens to you, they watch you. Your actions tell a story long before your words ever do. People are not inspired by what you say, they are moved by what you consistently demonstrate. Your character, discipline, integrity, and how you handle both success and failure define your true influence. Trust is not built through speeches, but through daily choices. Leadership is not declared, it is proven. If you want people to believe in your message, live it first. If you want respect, earn it through consistency. If you want to inspire, be the example that others cannot ignore. Every day, you are showing the world who you are. Make sure what they see aligns with what you say. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this message. Remember, before anyone listens, they watch. So make every action count.